What is up, guys? Level Up Sports Betting here, back with episode 3 of the Level Up Education. This will be the second part of what could be a series that goes on forever when it will call profitable betting. Profitable betting, we're going to be talking about here is what the odds mean, just comparing decimal, fractional, American odds. We're going to be looking at comparing own probabilities with real odds. So we'll definitely get in with that and show you guys all about what odds mean and how you can get a little bit of an edge with the odds moving forward. So here's my guest and guy that's going to be here for a really long time, especially with this educational stuff. It's Kevin Davis, Boogie Down Picks. And Kevin, first we want to talk about what the odds mean. And we see, plus 130 sometimes. We see minus 110 sometimes with different bets on the spread, the money line, even totals. So you want to give us a rundown of what plus minus means when you're looking to bet a game?
So the plus or minus are American odds as they're known because they only use them in America. It's just like, why we don't use the metric system. It makes no sense. But you have to get used to knowing what they mean because everybody uses them. So plus means how much money you would make if you bet $100, not including getting your $100 back. Minus means how much money you need to bet to make $100. So if something's minus 150, you have to bet $150 if you want to make 100. If something is plus 2,000, if you bet 100, you'll make $2,000 if it wins.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different ways that you could be looking at odds. If you're not American, you're somewhere else in the world, there are what we call decimal and fractional odds as well. So you want to dig a little bit deeper into decimal, fractional, and even American and the difference between the odds and how to read it properly.
Yeah, so the American odds, to step back on that, if you want to know what it truly means, if it has a minus, the mathematical formula, if you're on a calculator and not using a pre-made calculator, is you take what the minus is, obviously remove the minus, and then you divide it by 100 plus whatever the minus is. So if something's minus 150, you would do 150 divided by 100 plus 150, which is 150 divided by 250. And that would end up being 60.6, which is 60%. So that would be the implied probability, which we'll get at shortly, which is the percentage that the break-even odds are the percentage that the odds imply the event having. Of course, as we mentioned, if you add up all the odds together, we mentioned last video, it's going to be more than 100%. But of course, it only has a 100% chance of happening, and that's how the house has an advantage. So decimal, you'll see something like 1.7 or 2.4. Decimal odds are how much money you make, including your original bet if you bet $1. So if you bet $1 at something at 1.7, you get 1.7 back. Or if you bet $10 on something at 1.7, you get $17 if it wins. And then fractional is the bottom number of the fraction is how much you need to bet to make the top number. So if something is 8 divided by 1, if you bet $1, you get $8 if it wins. Or something is 7 to 2, you bet $2, you get $7 if it wins, plus, your original bet. Right. So that's typically used in horse racing. Decimal odds, like if you're building like a model or something to compare odds, I always have it where the American odds get converted to decimal odds, and that's how I compare my probabilities. So that's essentially what those odds mean. It looks like gobbledygook. It's intimidating. Yeah. But once you know what they mean and how to convert it into betting odds, or even the idea of putting in a betting odd calculator to convert it to probability, it's actually pretty easy.
Yeah. And so let's go on and compare our own probabilities to real odds. I think people would like to see something, along those lines. There's visual learners out there. So if you want to compare your own probabilities to real odds, I know we talked about a game not too long ago that we could use for an example.
Yeah, so certainly. Well, the first thing is you got to know how to convert it. So as I mentioned before, and I can show you, you go in your calculator Dum-da-da-dum. You go on your betting odds converter, which you can make your own converter, which I do, or you can go in the Action Network webpage or find a different webpage, etc. So let's say you see minus 140. Well, what is the implied probability if you don't want to do the math? 58.3%, or 1.71, or 5 divided by 7. Or what if you say, okay, I think this event has a 53% chance of happening. 53%. That means it's 53%, it would be priced at minus 113 if it's the fair odds. So let's say you like a game and you think the team has about a 71% chance of winning. 71%. That would translate to minus 245. So you look at the game and you find out that it's minus 145. Well, without even going into the odds value calculator or EV calculator, minus 145, it means it has to happen 59% of the time to break even, and you think it happens 71% of the time. So you have about a 10.8 percentage point edge, which is a bit larger than normal. So you always want to double check. I remember when I had my Korean baseball model and another guy who, is a Twitter guy, so he has a photo of a famous athlete and a lot of followers, messaged me and said, "You're full of crap, Kevin. You need to start over." I said, "You're wrong, and here's why." And that is that. But, generally that guy is right. You don't want to have too big of an edge because the odds makers are smart. But let's say you do have that big of an edge. So there you go, the odds value calculator. We're just going to keep it simple. You're betting $100, and it's priced at minus 145, and you think it has a 71% chance of happening. So your expected value would be $19.97. Or let's do another example. Let's say you think something has a 45% chance of happening, and it's priced at minus 110. You should expect to lose $14 on a $100 bet, which is more likely to happen. That you come up with your probabilities and you find a bad bet. So let's say, and this happens so frequently, you do the math and this team is horrible against the other team. They have a 30% chance of winning. No way would anyone ever bet them. Let's say they come out with the odds and they make them plus 400 money line. Look at that. You have an edge.
Yeah.
So, that's part of the thing is you can't think something's a lock or something's always going to happen. You have to say anything can happen. What are the chances compared to the probability of being offered? And in the long run, you'll win money if the probability of something happening is greater than the break-even percentage of the odds.
Yep, and that's the thing right there. There is no locks. There's nothing that's automatically going to win no matter what. And obviously, Kevin is big on finding some value and getting profit where he can. And looks like betting a plus 400 when they have a win probability of 30 isn't so bad after all. When most people basically on Twitter would tell Kevin that he's nuts for doing that. But if you have a plan and you have and you know what you're doing in this sense, it's really not a bad bet. I think that's what Kevin's trying to say.
Yeah, that anything is a good bet as long as the probability is greater than the implied probability of the odds.
Yeah,
that's it. If the probability is lower than the implied probability and the bet wins, you won money, but you still made a bad bet.
Right.
So your only criteria of knowing of whether you made a good bet should be based on the information that you used in the process. Were you betting on something that was more likely to happen than the odds suggested?
Exactly. So if you guys want a little something here, I do have a bet later tonight. It is Washington State playing California. If you look at all the models out there, all combined, they, like we went over before, most would believe that they could win 70% of the time. But right now they're just at minus 2.5 and minus 145 on the money line at home against California. As we went earlier to the other page, we saw that, look, right now at minus 145 or minus 145 with a 70% edge is win probability is a great bet. And we just saw it should be around minus 245. So right now you're getting Washington State at around minus 145 when most models and projections would say that they should be around a minus 245 favorite. So if you're looking for a bet today and you want to use some of Kevin's thoughts and his all of his details, definitely look at Washington State as one of the plays that you guys can take today. Definitely go to our Discord page. It is in the YouTube description box below. You can get all of Level Up community and all their cappers, all the analysis, all the plays, and we have a ton of plays going today in the NHL, in college basketball, in the NBA, and we even had Kevin give a EuroLeague bet that already cashed at 12 o'clock, or not, maybe more like 2 o'clock, but the game started at 12. It cashed at 2. We already gave the community one win to start the day. So again, definitely check out the Discord and get all the best bets in every single which league you could ever think of. We have some soccer bets going today in leagues I've never heard of before. So definitely check that out. Go to that the Discord below. We're now at 300 people. So thank you guys for all sticking around and supporting Level Up as we continue to grow the channel. We'll be back here again on Monday with more education. The topic is to be determined, but it will definitely be a topic that you guys have asked for and you guys want. Make sure at 10 o'clock every day from Monday through Friday, which means, yes, tomorrow, we have an NHL show going with Matty Ice and Nikki Picks. They're giving you guys all of the analysis, all of their picks, all of their leans, all of their everything in the NHL, even, crazy bets, plus 300 bets, whatever you could ask for, they give it to you. So make sure to tune in at 10 o'clock from Monday through Friday for the NHL show with Matty Ice hosting and Nikki Picks with him. Again, we appreciate you guys for checking in. And again, we'll see you on Monday for the next episode of the Level Up Education. And for next time, we'll see you soon.